No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba and North Dakota. Good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. With Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, live on location for tonight's post-game show, taking some time away from a fun family vacation to say good evening to my good friend, Ezra Ginsburg.
Good evening.
It's been about, 12 days, I think, since we last got together, Mr. Ezzy. So it is good to see you. I have to start the post-game show by, of course, giving you praise for the excellent job you did this morning on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. And it's,
hosting's not easy, Drew. I learned that. I mean, I give you a lot of props. You've been hosting the show for 14 years, but the last couple of years that we've been, in this new format, I have yet to host. So there are a few minor hiccups, but obviously having the big rig Jim Toth, beside me on the screen, at least, not in person. And then, had some good guests. Sarah Orlesky joined us. Ben Pope, who covers the Chicago Blackhawks for the Chicago Sun-Times, joined us. So, yeah, It was a lot of fun. Missed you guys, but we'll be right back at it on Tuesday night. The triumvirate will be back.
That's right. We will be back together on Tuesday night. I see that Spencer is already asking to see the clock. I'm not in Kentucky, Spencer, so there is no clock behind me. You might see some random people walking behind me, but that's a separate issue altogether. I'm not in Kentucky, but I am here for the post-game show, and that's important as well. As Ezzy and I are here for the next little while to discuss the first Jets game in a while. We knew that team needed a well-deserved break and a well-deserved time off, and they got it, and then they came back, and you knew that the schedule certainly wasn't a challenging game tonight against the Chicago Blackhawks team that is a bad hockey team playing the second half of a back-to-back. I mean, the Jets get full marks for the win. There's going to be some aspects of this game that they like, but there's also going to be some aspects that they don't like. Particularly, I thought maybe the latter half of the first period and the first few minutes of the third period. But then the Jets sort of got a little bit of a rude awakening after Tyler Johnson scored to cut it to 3-1, and then they were on their heels. But then they really started to take it to Chicago and sort of refound the form that they had for a lot of the second period. Look, I mean, we know that Chicago is not a good hockey team. I think it was our buddy Mike McIntyre who tweeted out that it was entering the third period. So through 11 periods of play, the Jets had outscored Chicago this year something like 14-3. And so obviously with the Blackhawks getting one goal in the third period, that would be at the end of the year, it would be 14-4, the Jets in sweeping the 4 games from the Chicago Blackhawks. The Jets did what they need to do against a bad team tonight. As I said, there's a lot that they're going to like, or some that they're going to like, some that they're not going to like, but it's all, I think, another stepping stone. And the competition is going to get a lot harder on Tuesday when you face the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that overall assessment. I would take it a little bit further and say that, the first 7 or 8 minutes or 9 minutes, 10 minutes of the third period weren't great. Like, Chicago was very close to making that a 1-goal game, right? Like, Patrick Kane had a really good chance in tight. Hellebuck shut the door, and I thought Hellebuck was really solid tonight. And everybody knew that the first period was going to be sloppy. And I think, you are right when you say, the first 7 to 10 minutes, 7 to 12 minutes were pretty good for the Jets. Obviously no goals scored, but Scheifele, Ehlers, Wheeler were really solid. You saw them have a little bit of a chance on a 2-on-1 that they couldn't bury. But I think we can look at this game and not like the third period or not like the second half of the first period, but it's the first game after, as you just mentioned, a long break, and you get the 4-1 win, right? Like, I'm sitting here, at home watching, the last 3 or 4 minutes, Chicago, pulls Peter Mrazek, and you've got the wave going on. And I was more interested in watching, how many times the wave was going to go around, right? Because Chicago's moving the puck around nicely, right? Like Seth Jones to Patrick Kane. I thought Andreas Athanasiou was one of the most impressive players. And, Jim and I talked about that quite a bit on this morning show. And then we continued the talk with Sarah and then Ben Pope, who I mentioned writes for the Chicago Sun-Times. Like, there's a lot of players aside from Taves and Kane who I think teams would be interested. Like I thought Max Domi looked good. I thought Jake McCabe looked good on the back end, right? Lafferty, like there's a lot of guys here that you're not going to have to give up a first round pick to get. Like if you want to get Patrick Kane as a rental, you're going to have to give up, something significant. You're not going to get Patrick Kane for a 5th round pick, right? So I think that, a lot of teams, are really circling around the Chicago Blackhawks right now. And, I think their record going into this game, their last 13 was something like 8-4-1. So give the Blackhawks credit. I mean, they're still 31st overall in the NHL. So there's still a good chance they finish, bottom 2, bottom 3. But, compare this team, Drew, to, the team we saw a few months back. Like this is actually not, at least watching this team, they're bad. They're still bad. Don't get me wrong. But, it looks like they're at least, finding a bit of an identity here and playing hard. I think they realize that, the season's winding down and a lot of these guys are going to get moved. So I think they're playing for pride, to be honest with you.
Look, there's no question about it. I was thinking to myself as I was watching this game, and there were some kids playing a ferocious game of mini sticks not far from where I am here. I give Chicago credit when it was 3-0 that third period. Would you have been surprised at all if they just had just sort of packed their bags and gone home? I wouldn't have been. I think it's a testament to Luke Richardson, who by all accounts is doing a pretty solid job behind the bench in Chicago in a difficult season, in a challenging season, that he keeps that team motivated. He keeps them playing hard. And I know they're professionals and all that jazz, blah, blah, blah. And they should do that, and absolutely they should. But I'll give them credit. They're bereft of talent, particularly on the back end. But they played hard in that third period. They didn't get all the way back, of course, but they played hard, and they made the Jets have to recapture their game. Where I think the Jets started the third period thinking Chicago's not going to try anything second half of a back-to-back for them, things of that nature. But the Jets definitely had to up their game in that third period. And you saw it in that third, really, with that shift by the Dubois line. I don't know if that was and it was during that shift where, I don't think it was that shift where Mrazek's mask came off yet again. I think it was out, that came later in the period.
Did it come off 3 times or 4 times? It came off at least 3 times. And the first time that it came off,
one by Connor, I think. I don't think there was a fourth.
Well, and the first one, and Harner Ryan Singh and Gary Galley, they might be the best duo right now in the entire. They're unbelievable, and kudos to the Jets, by the way, on Southeast Asian Heritage Night. They just did a phenomenal job. But they commented about the Dubois shot, the first one that went off Mrazek's mask, like it just stopped and bounced right in front of him, right? So I was just thinking, like, Dubois got a really good shot. I mean, most guys in the NHL have a good shot, but I was just thinking, like, Mrazek, I wouldn't have been surprised if he came out of the game, to be honest with you.
The first one looked like he might, the way he was shaking his head, I was wondering if there was going to be the concussion spotter was going to ask for him to go to the dark room for a couple minutes. I agree with you on that point. Clearly they didn't, but the way he took it, and then it's one thing to take it and then and then in the sort of the action, sort of trying to gather the cobwebs, but it was still a few seconds later that he was sort of shaking his head and trying to sort of come to grips with the shot that he took off the helmet.
And then you also had, Josh Morrissey, who takes the shot from Patrick Kane. It looked like it was the ear. He was bleeding. I know that. And then obviously he was okay.
Anything in the ear after the Brian Little career-ending injury is scary.
Exactly. And I mean, you don't like to see anybody get a shot anywhere, above the shoulders. And then you had Dylan Sandberg, who takes it, in the region that, I'm not going to say what that region is, but we all know what the region is, right? Yeah. It's the things that make children. So that was a little bit scary as well.
Like when Blake Wheeler took his and said that no big deal, he's already got 3 kids, or you and I, we've already been.
Yeah, we've already gone to Dr. J. Buenafé, Drew. So we were watching that, and we were still feeling it, but maybe not as much as Sandberg was.
Sandberg's a young man; he's still got years ahead of him. He still probably wants to have a family at some point in time. That's a lot more scary for him. And you could see he was in a lot of pain for obvious reasons. And it was funny. I love Kenny. Kenny Weeb is how close we all are with Kenny, but I love you sort of going through the Twitter scroll, and it's like I'm tweeting about that, Samberg gets it in the nuts, and Mike's tweeting that he gets it in where the sun doesn't shine, and Murat's tweeting about, he gets it in a sensitive spot, and Scotty Billick tweeting that he gets it, in a really, dangerous spot. And Kenny is just so professional and so buttoned up with his tweets. He's like, Dylan Samberg blocks the shot in his lower midsection and is injured on the play, or it appears to be in some anguish on the play. I really enjoyed the sort of the difference in how the rest of us were doing it, and how Kenny did it with his analysis, where we were all saying the same thing, just Kenny with a little bit more couth with it than certainly yours truly, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And, it was just one of those games, right? Like, yes, that was Chicago's third game after the All-Star break, but it was the second game of a back-to-back, and we've talked about it. It's been, talked about for really the last 3 or 4 days here in Winnipeg, that, the Jets have been off for almost 2 weeks, right? So that type of stuff is to be expected, right? Like shots going off of mask, shots going, into guys, midsection and everything like that, right? But look, I think, overall, you really like, the result, and you like the fact that, the Jets really took advantage of that power play. Another thing too, I know we're going to get into the goals, but, this whole idea of the high sticking, and, it seems like every few games we have this one play, but I'm obviously talking about the, the high stick, Sam Lafferty on Nate Schmidt, right? But to me, that's almost as obvious of a high stick as you can get, right? Like for me, it doesn't matter what's happening on the ice. You high stick a guy and you make him bleed. By the definition in the rule book, that's a 4-minute penalty. And for those who are wondering, they talked about this on the broadcast. I mean, if it is a follow through on a shot, the reason why it was called is because it wasn't really a follow through on the shot, because the puck wasn't there, right? It was kind of, Lafferty misplayed the puck a little bit, but
I rolled.
I don't know about you, Drew, but I was, I was a little bit perplexed, to say the least, why there was such a long review. I mean, it wasn't the longest review, but the fact that it was reviewed in the first place, like it was a high stick. It was 4 minutes. Let's go.
Yeah, it was obvious. There's no question about it. But they talked about it during the intermission as well. I think it was Kevin Bieksa who said that, it's time to sort of remove that aspect of the rule from the rule book, where you don't have to be in control of your stick on the follow through. Because I mean,
couldn't you argue that's when you should be in control of your stick the most?
Well, that's what cost Brian Berard. Think about it. When Brian Berard got the stick in the eye, and that altered his career for so long, and so many.
It's crazy that he played, that much longer without vision in one eye.
That's right.
Or limited vision in one eye.
And I'm trying to think, who was it? It was somebody on Ottawa who didn't have control of the stick, were wildly swinging at the puck, and got Berard on the follow through. They're just sort of, it was a bouncing puck, and I think somebody sort of took a wild turnaround swing at the puck. Was it? It wouldn't have been Yashin. I don't think it was Alexei Yashin, but for some reason that's the name that's jumping to my mind. Somebody in the chat will remind me who it was.
I think it was Hossa, Drew.
Maybe it was Hossa. That could be it. That could have that.
And when I say I think it was Hossa, I meant I just Googled it.
Yeah, well, there you go. But I mean, he was wild. He did not have any control, of his stick, and it cost Brian Berard to significantly altered his career. I think it's something the NHL can go back and review and say, look, you just need to be in control of your stick at all times, because otherwise it's just too dangerous.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. I just wanted to get that in there because, like we talked about, Kevin Bieksa, Ron McLean, Kelly Rudy, who am I missing? Elliot Friedman. They were talking about it. I just thought it was, interesting, but also a crucial part of the game, right? Because the Jets are up 1-0, and you also have to factor in, like, when that happened, it was a 5-on-3, and then it was a 5-on-4. Well, it was 4-on-4, I should say. So it was 4-on-3, and then it was 5-on-3, because Stenlund took that stupid penalty. Like, I don't know, they called that tripping, but it was kind of like a semi slew foot. But that was, they really saved. I mean, I should say, the Blackhawks, saved the Jets there, because the Blackhawks, they could have tied the game up there, right? And we know what happened.
Yeah,
Jets didn't score on the 5-on-3, but they scored right after, right? So once they went up 2-0, you kind of got the feeling that the third goal was going to come, and even more after that. So that was a key part of the game, but yeah, not something that you see all the time, a review of a double minor for high sticking.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't know that they could review double minors, but I checked the rule book, and that is one of the, I thought it was just majors, but it is double minor high sticking penalties as well, can also be reviewed. So the refs were in the right to do that then, and then they made the call and got on with the game. Speaking of getting on with things, let's get on with the Betway game recap, brought to you by Betway, one of the most trusted voices in sports betting, both in Canada and all around the world. Betway is the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront with a large selection of betting options in sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds. What are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. Of course, a big betting weekend with the Super Bowl. We'll have to get our Super Bowl picks on the record later on in the post-game show, Mr.
Chiefs,
Ginsburg.
baby.
There you go. You know, you're siding with your buddy.
Well,
Hustler.
I said Chiefs on this morning show with Jim because just for the simple fact that I'm supporting my man Hustler. He's a big Chiefs fan, and I'd like to see the Chiefs win, but at the end of the day, I just want to see a close game. I never like to see a blowout unless I guess you've bet on a blowout. But I'm most excited about the snacks, though, to be honest with you.
The snacks are very important. You can't go wrong with the Super Bowl snacks. The Jets opened the scoring after a scoreless first period, as we talked about at the outset of this program. The Jets came out as the better of the two teams, I think, to start the first period, and then Chicago was probably the better of the two teams in the latter half of the first period. But ultimately, nobody scored in the first period, despite Chicago getting a power play. Neil Pionk taking an interference penalty in the first period, but the Blackhawks didn't end up getting a shot on goal on that power play attempt. But the Jets opened the scoring early in the second period, and he's fresh off the All-Star game. And you remember how the game against St. Louis right before the All-Star break or before the bye week.
Let's effing go, Drew.
What's that?
Let's effing go.
Let's effing go. Exactly. Josh Morrissey gets his 11th of the year unassisted on this play. And, there's a lot of soft plays here by the Chicago Blackhawks. It's a soft, play up the boards by Jason Dickinson, and Morrissey just intercepts the puck, and then nobody touches him. Patrick Kane, go back and watch the video. Patrick Kane is is getting ready to fly the zone, and even though the puck is really nowhere near him, and he just makes no effort to come back on the play. I mean, Patrick Kane wants out of Chicago so bad. It's you can see it in how he plays more, especially at 5-on-5. But in this one, Morrissey just takes the puck and he just walks in and nobody touches. He walks all the way basically from the boards, because that's where he takes the puck from. He intercepts the puck on the boards and walks all the way into the slot, and it goes basically half of the width of the ice, if not more, and then backhands it with a great backhand past Peter Mrazek with a lot of traffic in front as well to give the Jets a very important 1-0 lead.
Love the backhand, by the way. We don't always talk about that. We've kind of joked that it's been overblown that, the slap shot is dead, right? Obviously, the big winding slap shots aren't, as common as they used to be, but I just love the backhand. But you're absolutely right, Drew. At the end result of this goal is Josh Morrissey just having way too much time. And then he takes it. But you're right. I mean, Carson Kuhlman took a hit behind the net that I liked. And then Morgan Barron takes out Jason Dickinson, and then Dickinson is the one that tries to reach out, extend the stick, and get something on Morrissey, and he misses him. And then there's just a lot of time and space, as you mentioned, and then Morrissey moves in and backhands it. So, kind of amazing that he got the ball rolling back on January 30th against the Blues, and then he, gets it going again tonight. But you're absolutely right. Patrick Kane, flies the zone and kind of it's a really pathetic, attempt to make a defensive play on Morrissey. And then obviously Dickinson, who just gotten body checked pretty good by Morgan Barron, just, it's a weak stick check. Mm-hmm. And, Morrissey, takes all that time and space and goes in and, opens the scoring for the Jets 1-0.
Yeah, it's a good backhand, and there's traffic in front of Peter Mrazek, which is obviously the important, a huge factor here as well. I think, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, of course, folks, I believe it's Adam Lowry who's causing the net front presence on this play, which is no surprise. That's often where you find Adam Lowry.
It was Kuhlman, but it was the Lowry Barron Kuhlman line.
Right. Okay. So it's right. Kuhlman who takes the hit, and then gets back in the play and gets in front of Peter Mrazek to to cause just a little bit more traffic there, and Morrissey does the rest.
It's you know what, it's a good point by you, Drew, because I mean, like, obviously, what stands out is Morrissey, because he's just red hot, and he has a really good chance to hit 80-85 points this year. But Kuhlman, again, like, we expect Mason Appleton to move up to the third line eventually, just because that's where he's been before, and he actually was, I think, briefly late in the first period. Or the second period, but he didn't stay on that third line. But I've said this a long time. Maybe it's because back in 2013, we covered Carson Kuhlman. He didn't end up getting drafted, but everybody knows that story. Played at Minnesota Duluth and went on to the Bruins, and then the Jets acquired him from the Kraken off waivers, right? But I really like Kuhlman on that third line. And if if Appleton ends up moving up, then I really do think Kuhlman. I think if it's between Kuhlman and Manalainen, I'm taking Kuhlman. And I also think I would be taking Gagne or Axel Jonsson-Fjällby over Manalainen. Nothing against Manalainen. I just don't think that he does enough in the lineup. I really don't. He kills penalties, but aside from that, I don't really know what else he does.
Yeah, that's not I don't think you're wrong with your point there. I mean, I think that he's in the lineup for his penalty killing prowess, but I don't know that can't be replicated by somebody else as well. That would stay in the lineup and maybe do a little bit of something else. But right now, with that, this was a good night for the Barron, Lowry, Kuhlman line. I wouldn't be messing with it. I understand where you're coming from with your perspective about Appleton and the expectation that he'll get elevated there. But right now, I certainly wouldn't. I'm not rushing that to happen anytime soon, because he seems fine. Getting eased in on a fourth line, and
best Corsi for. I mean, I realize that we use that. Maybe it's not as advanced of an advanced stat, but I always look at the even strength Corsi for. And 75 for Carson Kuhlman. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's just one game, but I do think that I agree with you. I don't think that you rush to put Mason Appleton on the third line, especially based on the way Kuhlman played tonight, Drew. But maybe that happens eventually. But I just think Kuhlman, a lot of people think, once David Gustafsson comes back, that, Kuhlman might be the odd man out. But right now, it's between Kuhlman, Jonsson-Fjällby, and Sam Gagne. And I think that's a pretty good rotation if those are your three guys that are kind of moving in and out of the lineup.
Well, of course, the trade deadline is the thing that hovers over everything else.
Exactly.
It's only a few weeks away, because I would expect you're going to see some additional moves made, but that'll be something that will happen in due time, undoubtedly. The Jets make it 2-0. We talked about it, the power play, where the penalties started to rear their ugly head during the game. It starts with Kevin Stenlund taking that tripping penalty, giving the Blackhawks their second power play of the game. They do nothing on that power play except get it eliminated before it had finished off. Tyler Johnson takes a tripping penalty, sort of a weird call. I guess it's technically tripping, but he's sort of digging for the puck, and it's in the skates of the player on the Jets that he hauls down, and he's called for tripping. And then it's the Sam Lafferty, a couple seconds later, 16 seconds later, Lafferty takes the high sticking double minor, which gives the Jets that significant, power play opportunity. They can't capitalize 5-on-3. But 5-on-4 they can. It ends up being Blake Wheeler's 13th goal of the year. Kyle Connor and Josh Morrissey with the assist. And a bit of a fortuitous one, as this one sort of ricochets off of Wheeler's skate. But the Jets had so much zone time there. I mean, they had, almost, I think that first power play unit seemed like they were on the ice for over 2 minutes there. Just a 2-minute stretch where they had nothing but zone time, and then the Blackhawks couldn't get the puck out, and eventually they get the fortuitous bounce to make it 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that assessment of the goal. They had a lot of chances with the extra couple men, and yeah, they were moving the puck well. And Wheeler ends up with a couple goals here. I mean, the empty netter is meaningless, but nice hands there. And I don't know what was going on. I don't know if you noticed this or anybody else noticed this, but it seemed like Wheeler and Scheifele, there were some, stare downs going on. I don't know if Patrick Kane was involved or who was involved there, but it seemed like, after that goal specifically, it looked like I saw Wheeler, they showed him, looked like he was staring somebody down. I just don't know who it was. But there could have been some things said on the ice or stuff like that. But the Hawks really shot themselves in the foot there. And we talked about that was a critical point of the game. They were on the power play, and not only did they take one penalty to make it 4-on-4, they take the double minor for high sticking, which we talked about was oddly reviewed, at least in our estimation. So yeah, I mean, nice tip by Wheeler. Connor had some good chances there. Scheifele had a really good one-timer there that Mrazek stopped. So, the Jets were rewarded. Like they were moving the puck really well in the power play. Kevin Bieksa was breaking down the little bit of a sloppy, I guess,
Well, the way they line up for their penalty kill is what Kevin Bieksa was saying in that second intermission is different than basically every other team.
Right.
And
they're ranked, I think, 30th
40,
or something in penalty kill, or I don't know what it is. Their power play is 25th, right?
Yeah.
They're bottom 5, bottom 7 in both power play and penalty kill, and that's why they're bottom 2 in the entire league, right? So, yeah, the penalty kill was not very good. I thought the power play looked better than the penalty kill, but the Jets obviously killed all 3 penalties that they took tonight. So, yeah, that goal was kind of the goal where, as we talked about earlier, you knew that the game was kind of getting out of reach for the Blackhawks at that point.
And the Jets add to that by making it 3-0 at the 12:09 mark. So the goals are coming, basically 5-6 minutes apart in the second period for the Jets. It's Scheifele, his 32nd of the year, assist to Blake Wheeler and Nikolai Ehlers. And it looks like a very pretty one. And it is a very pretty one. I shouldn't say it looks like a very pretty one, but it is a very pretty one. As long as you sort of, again, fortuitous, as Ehlers is trying to hit Neil Pionk with the pass, and then Pionk, it's not a great pass to Pionk, but it ends up on the stick of Wheeler, and then Wheeler tees it up for Scheifele, and Scheifele makes no mistake on it. So, it's probably maybe it worked out to the Jets' advantage that the pass from Ehlers, the attempted pass from Ehlers to Pionk didn't quite work, but still a great play by Wheeler to hit Scheifele in stride with the one-timer, a vintage setup from Wheeler to Scheifele to give the Jets the 3-0 lead at the 12:09 mark of the second period.
Yeah, as you mentioned, that's just vintage Scheifele and Wheeler, and I thought that was the Jets' best line tonight. No surprise. And, for all of the talk about, Wheeler possibly moving down to the third line if the Jets acquire a top 9 forward / top 6 forward, which we're expecting.
Hey, Ezzy, your wife is in the chat. She wants to know if you're taking your shirt off for tonight's postgame show.
I am not going to be taking my shirt off, but
just wanted to clarify that for Naomi.
During the postgame show. I just said during the postgame show. I might take my shirt off after the postgame show. I'm not sure where Naomi is tuning in from right now. She might be inside the house. I know that she was out earlier celebrating our friend Lainey's birthday. Lainey, so
happy birthday,
Lainey.
Her
birthday February 1st, so over a week ago, but she's going out tonight. So she might be home, but I'm always glad when Naomi tunes in.
That's nice. It's true. And your palatial palace, your palatial compound is so big. Of course, you have no idea when your wife comes home or not. So it's totally reasonable that this is all just coming sort of as news to you at this point in time.
Yeah. I have a very modest house, Drew. It's a very normal size house. Not anything too crazy. Not like Richie's. I mean, Richie's, have you seen Richie's house? That's a real house.
Yeah, I have seen it. And I'm sure he'd be thrilled that we're talking about it on air, but that doesn't matter. It's not like he's watching this.
It's a beautiful piece of real estate.
3-0 for the Jets after 40 minutes. They get what they needed to do in that second period after the first period ended scoreless or ended with no goals. The Jets come out and they have that 3-0 lead to start the third period. And we talked about this earlier on the post-game show. I thought Chicago was just I was gonna tweet running time. Let's just get it over with. Get this post game show started. Some of us are tired and ready for bed. That would be me. I'm sure that's you as well, Mr. Ginsburg. But the Blackhawks, to their credit, come out firing, and they have the Jets on their heels, and it eventually ends up with Tyler Johnson getting his 6th of the year, assist to Jake McCabe and Jason Dickinson to cut the lead to 3-1. And I think this is part of the problem for a lot of Jets fans is that they see Neil Pionk not being able to handle Tyler Johnson in front of the net. I mean, Tyler Johnson is not the Tyler Johnson that he once was with the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's never been a big, strong player. I mean, he's not, Neil Pionk isn't also, especially big himself, but you should be able to box out and you should be able to tie up Tyler Johnson on that play. Instead, Pionk gets beat. Johnson is able to sort of roll off of the attempted body position and tuck the rebound past Connor Hellebuyck to make it 3-1 for the Winnipeg Jets at this point. This is 2 minutes and 8 seconds, so it's relatively early on into the third period, Ezzy.
Well, yeah, and we talked about it. I mean, the Blackhawks had a lot of chances after that, right? Like we talked about, Andreas Athanasiou had a really good chance. I remember Patrick Kane had a really good chance in tight.
Yeah. Sort of a jam play that Kane was trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, but on this particular goal, you're right. Like I was watching this, and I think Scheifele pokes at the puck, and it's Jason Dickinson that gets it back to the blue line. I forget who took the shot. Was it Caleb Jones, Drew, that took the shot?
It was Jake McCabe who got the
the
primary assist.
Yeah, so it was Dickinson. Scheifele pokes at the puck. Dickinson gets it and gets it back to Jake McCabe there on the left side. And to me, like I was watching this, and then I PVR'd it, and like I just kind of isolated Neil Pionk there. And again, like I don't think you can just pick on Neil Pionk here, but like it's a net front battle with Tyler Johnson, right? Like Johnson's got his back to Pionk, and he just gains position and just wins that battle, right? As you talked about, like it's a fortuitous bounce, but Tyler Johnson jumps on the rebound. It turns out that it's a meaningless goal. The Jets win the game 4-1, but at that time, the Hawks, they were playing much better than the Jets were, and they were pressing to make it a 1-goal game. And it pains me to say it, but like, and I don't think Neil Pionk necessarily had a terrible game, but on that particular play, I mean, he's just too soft on Tyler Johnson there, as you mentioned. Tyler Johnson's not a big man. So, that's that goal. And, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what the Jets do, with their decor, because I think, they miss Dylan DeMello right now for sure. And DeMello's not out long term. I mean, he might end up coming back for the game against the Kraken on Tuesday night.
Well,
and if
he's not skating, back, and he skated with the team this morning again. So he's not,
so if he's not back Tuesday night, I think, we'd all expect him to be back Thursday night against, I think it's Columbus they play on Thursday night, right? So we'll see what happens. But, if I'm Chevy, I'm, looking at that right side more than I am the left side. And, it's funny that we're talking about the right side again. But I think, with the way Dylan Sandberg has been playing, and Brendan Dillon's had a much better year than he did last year. Now we know who's on the left side on the top pair. So I think, if you're Chevy, you're probably looking at bringing in a right side defenseman, and then possibly, that moves Pionk out of your top four. I just don't think he's been playing well enough to be in the top four right now.
No, I think right now he needs to be playing more sheltered minutes. I mean, it's not just been a small sample size we're basing this on. It's been, this was game 53 of the season. He hasn't really been, quote unquote, himself for the majority of the year. So if you're the Jets, that certainly is an area that you might be looking to address, come the trade deadline. Now, I don't expect the Jets are going to be going after a significant name on the back end necessarily. I don't think they're, we saw that Jacob Chikrin is held out of the Coyotes lineup tonight. I don't expect that the Jets are going to be in on one of the bigger name defensemen, but it's certainly, I think, an area that I would not be surprised to see them try and upgrade between now and the trade deadline, in addition to, another top 6, top 9 forward, or a couple top 6, top 9 forward.
Like a guy that I put out there that, it was a little bit mixed, was Ethan Bear. Like I know some people think that, Ethan Bear is more of a third pairing guy. But I dug up some numbers, and his expected goals at 5-on-5 are actually better than Chris Letang and Noah Hannafin. So, I mean, people, there's this kind of, I don't know, it's not correct. Ethan Bear is a good defenseman, at least as far as I'm concerned. The eye test and the advanced stats, Ethan Bear is a right shot defenseman. So again, I know there's some people out there that want, a Vladislav Gavrikov or a Jake Chikrin or, some other defenseman. But all I know is that a guy like Ethan Bear, he could provide offense. I think he's got 6 or 7 goals this year, and, he's got some physicality. He's not the biggest guy. And again, I'm not saying that, the Jets are going to imminently acquire Ethan Bear. I'm just saying a guy like that, I think, is a guy that the Jets should be looking at acquiring.
Well, somebody who's probably not going to cost an arm and a leg, but somebody who's going to fit in and slot in your lineup and sort of make everybody's lives easier, I think is somebody that the Jets are probably going to be looking at. And again, there's so much is going to happen between now and the trade deadline. And so for some teams, it's going to happen sooner, as we saw with the New York Rangers, of course, acquiring Tarasenko, and as we saw with the New York Islanders acquiring Bo Horvat. Some teams, like to jump the queue and jump the line. Jets traditionally haven't been a team that's made their moves that early, but you wonder if this year is going to change their approach. In any event, lots of time to talk about.
Ethan Bear only has 3 goals, by the way. He's got 3 goals and 11 points in 40 games. So well, I don't know where I got the 7 goals, but still, I think he's a good defenseman. I know there's
you were probably watching all those commercials for Cocaine Bear and got a little bit confused.
Oh my God. I'm glad you brought that up. What the hell is Cocaine Bear?
Well, you know where Cocaine Bear is. It's based on a true story. And you know where that true story originated.
I have no idea.
Well, Ezra, come on. The Commonwealth of Kentucky, of course.
I didn't know that. By the way, I really hope you didn't tell Laura that I said Republic of Kentucky, because
I didn't tell Laura that
we had some people correcting me. I knew that it was one of the two. Like I misspoke when we had Sarah on this morning, because I was talking about how she was making fun of me because I said that Dave and Drew were currently in the United States of America instead of just saying the USA. But I like to say the full 4 words. But Cocaine Bear, I thought that was a joke. Like, to me, that's similar. It's got to be from the same producers as Sharknado.
No, it's not. It's based on a true story.
So there actually was a bear that did cocaine?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. I mean, a story like that, Drew's got to be true.
Hey, look, I'm first in line. I already got my tickets. I'm first in line. I don't know if there's a Jets game that night when the premiere is happening. But
Drew, it's 12:30 in the morning, and you're doing the post-game show from the Grand Forks Canadians Business Center, and we're talking about Cocaine Bear being real. So I'm not going to argue with you, okay?
Yeah, on this one, don't worry. The best part of you, we have to touch on this though quickly though. The best part of you, so you called Kentucky a republic, which is fine. It's an oversight. It's no big deal. Right. On our Facebook page, somebody corrected you and said Kentucky is not a republic; it's a commonwealth. And the name of the person on the Facebook page that corrected you, and I had to do a double take, because I thought for a second it said Drew Mindell, and that's me, and it wasn't me because wasn't the one who heard you. Or
well, you could see it was a different avatar too.
Yeah, it was nothing to do with me. It was Drew Wendell. So not only is there a person in Winnipeg who has a very similar name to me, Drew Wendell, but he also knows that Kentucky is a commonwealth and not a republic and not a state.
It's going to be hard, Drew, not to call you Drew Wendell for the rest of my life.
I can accept it. I mean, I honestly had to do it. I had to see if it was a parody of me. If somebody started a Facebook page that was a parody of me, because if they did a great job in nailing it. But it was apparently a real person who has a very similar name to mine and knew all the particulars about Kentucky. I don't know if he knew that Cocaine Bear is based on a story in Kentucky or not. But in any event, congratulations to both Cocaine Bear, which is, I assume, going to win all the Oscars, and for Drew Wendell for having a name that's very similar to mine.
Okay, I know you want to, continue with the Jets Blackhawks game here, but I'm just, I'm still kind of, just in my head, I'm mulling it over. Like, with the big paws that a bear has, how do they even do cocaine?
Well, I mean, I don't think they do it in the traditional sense like you're thinking, where they're like rolling up a dollar bill and snorting a line. I'm pretty sure they found a thing of cocaine and went rah, 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 like you at the buffet.
Oh, okay, that's how they did it. Okay, they don't do it like humans. They just
He's not doing it off with a stripper and at a bachelor party and with a glass mirror or anything. Boy, I sound like a drug addict as we keep going here. But for the record, folks, I've never done cocaine. Just want to put that out there to be loud and clear on that one. In any event, I think he just found a package of cocaine and decided to treat himself a little bit.
I think we need to go see that movie together is what we need to do.
I think it's almost we should be like live streaming us do a live broadcast of us watching Cocaine Bear. I think people are going to be tuning in for that. To see what's going to be. That would be worthwhile. Whatever this is, TV, radio, podcasting, whatever this nonsense that we do on a regular basis.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, in any event. The Jets did round out the scoring. Somehow it wasn't Adam Lowry. I'm not sure how he missed that, but Adam Lowry, who's, of course, been snake bit for something like, I think, about 35 or 40 games in a row now without scoring a goal, managed to hit the post in the wide open net. But Blake Wheeler eventually puts it in at the 19:35 mark. So with 25 seconds to go, Blake Wheeler gets his second of the game, his 14th of the year, assist to Morgan Barron and Adam Lowry, as the Jets end up wrapping the scoring with a 4-1 victory tonight over the Chicago Blackhawks. A good win for the Jets, beating a weaker opponent. Also good because of all the things that happened on the out-of-town scoring, namely out-of-town scoreboard, namely the Dallas Stars losing tonight to the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Wild came back and actually beat the Devils, your Devils, in a shootout.
I own them. Yeah.
The Jets
My Devils.
The Jets moved to within 3 points of top spot in the Central Division with a game in hand on the Dallas Stars. So a 4-1 victory for the Winnipeg Jets. Quality victory tonight on home ice as the team returns to action following the lengthy All-Star game bye-week break and everything. Ezzy, of course, we forgot to mention that the Mark Scheifele shot, which was an absolute bullet, is our Seagram shot of the game. Seagram's 83, Manitoba's number one whiskey. I assume it's also North Dakota's number one whiskey. I'll have to I'm just going to go ahead on that assumption as well, as that's where I'm broadcasting from on this. I guess it's now Sunday morning is where we're at to now, not even Saturday night. But Seagram's 83, Manitoba's number one whiskey, thanks to Seagram for their sponsorship of the Illegal Curve.
Are you doing a shot, or I wasn't sure if you had any? I thought you might have stopped off at Happy Harry's.
I did stop off at Happy Harry's, but I'm bringing some bottles back for my personal consumption. I got another couple bottles of bourbon to add to the 38 bottles of bourbon. We like to keep
yum. Yeah. Bourbon.
Exactly. We like to make sure we have enough bourbon in the house in case Cocaine Bear comes through the door. We can just pour the bourbon down Cocaine Bear's throat and see what happens at that point in time. In any event, that is, of course, the Betway game recap here tonight on the Illegal Curve post-game show. It's simple, fun, and safe to bet with Betway. So head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. When we come back on the post-game show, more on the Jets and the Blackhawks, more on Cocaine Bear, more of our nonsense. It is 12:30. It's Sunday morning. You really, literally have nowhere else to be. So don't go anywhere. It's the Illegal Curve post-game show.
The Illegal Curve bedtime show.
We're live on YouTube and all of our social media platforms.
Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Jon Stewart, Dennis Miller, Brad Garrett, the biggest acts and all the up-and-comers. They've all made their mark at Rumors Comedy Club, North America's longest-running independent comedy club. Rumors has kept Winnipeg laughing for over 25 years. When was the last time you laughed out loud? Make it a great night out with friends or book your office or birthday party, even a fundraising event at Rumors. Get all the details and dates on upcoming shows at rumorscomedyclub.com.
He winds up. Oh, looks like Ezzy took that one right in the choppers.
A blistering fast puck hurts like HE double hockey sticks. That's why I let the pros at Linden Market Dental Center turn my yow into
wow.
Get your brilliant smile back with state-of-the-art restorative and cosmetic dentistry from real pros.
And remember, always wear a mouth guard.
Now that's solid on ice advice. Learn more at lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Dave, my man, why are you in the car already? It's hours until game time.
Drew, it's because I'm stressed out right now, driving around downtown Winnipeg, looking for a parking spot, and I'm not finding one. I've lost Ginsburg. I don't even know where that guy is right now.
Dave, haven't I taught you anything? Do what I do. Pre-book your entire month's worth of game day parking with the Grid Park app. It's super easy to use and saves me both time and stress.
Well, Drew, I'm not independently wealthy like you are. So I'm sorry that I don't have millions of dollars to pre-book my parking month in advance. What's that going to cost you? $25?
How about $5?
Come on, $5? No way.
$5. I'm not telling you a lie. And our listeners can get a free park with the new special promo code Illegal Curve. Guess what? There's more.
Come on, there's more, Drew. You're lying to me. What more could there be?
Grid Park now has underground parking, so my car can stay warm during the game.
So wait a second. All the driving around I do, looking for parking, minus 40, you're telling me I could be toasty warm in a car after the hockey game?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Underground parking. Just download the Grid Park app. That's GRYD Park and use the code Illegal Curve. All one word. You'll park for free your first time.
Hi, it's Drew from Illegal Curve here. Selling your home can be stressful, but it wasn't for me. Thanks to my friends at Zappia Group Realty, they made the process so easy. My home sold within 48 hours and with multiple offers. Zappia Group Realty took care of everything with their exquisite customer service and attention to detail. If you want to sell your home for more in less time, get started by talking to Frank and Mauro Zappia of Zappia Group Realty. Online at zappiagroup.com.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com.
25 minutes before the top of the hour. Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Ezra Ginsburg with you on this Sunday morning, talking about the Winnipeg Jets' 4-1 victory over the Chicago Blackhawks. A lot of talk, of course, leading up to tonight's game about the rare 9 p.m. Central start time for tonight. Mike McIntyre with some quotes from Connor Hellebuck, this courtesy of Mike's Twitter feed, says apparently Connor Hellebuck said the crowd tonight at Candle Life Center was buzzing. Quote, maybe it was those $6 beers and a late start. I think people were certainly well lubricated watching tonight's Jets victory. Mike also asked Connor Hellebuck what he thinks about a 9 p.m. start time like tonight. Quote, courtesy of Connor Hellebuck, I hate it. I hate them. They don't belong here. I'm not going to be able to get any sleep tonight. That's the Winnipeg Jets goaltender, Connor Hellebuck, who was big when he needed to be for the Jets and made the key saves at key opportunities. I wouldn't say he was spectacular, but he didn't need to be. But he was certainly effective for the Winnipeg Jets, as we've come to expect, Mr. Ginsburg.
Yes, he was. I love the comments earlier about the fans buzzing in the $6 beers, because it doesn't seem like that long ago. Well, maybe it is kind of a long time ago that you used to be able to go to Scandals on Pembina and get 25-cent drafts. So the fact that $6 beers now are like, it just shows you that we're where we're at with hyperinflation, right? Like $6 beers, like, yes, it's a deal because they're usually what, like $9 or $11, but
it's only
$6 is still pretty expensive for one beer.
It was only $6 up until puck drop. Let's not get carried away here. It was once the game started, the beers were their usual over.
It was $6 beers for like 30 minutes, right? And then they went back up to $10 or $11. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, people took advantage of that, and people, I think, definitely took advantage of the 9 o'clock start. I imagine a lot of people were, in and around the arena and partying a little bit beforehand. It's fine. There aren't going to be a lot of 9 o'clock starts. It's not like we're going to see like 10 of these a year.
No, look, I'm perfectly fine if you do one a year, or maybe even 2 a year. I'm fine with that. Where late for the late on a Saturday night, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's sort of interesting. It's sort of fun. It's just a different sort of start time and everything else, and it throws everybody for a bit of a curve. But I had no problem with it at once, maybe twice a year, as we saw tonight with the 9 o'clock start time. A couple other comments before we get to some of the contests on this Sunday morning edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Blake Wheeler on Winnipeg's success with the team's speed. Quote, our game is predicated on being able to transition the puck fast and try to get our forwards moving. Our team moves well, and when we're moving like that, it can create some time and space, and this is where we can make some plays. Certainly the case. Wheeler on his pass to Scheifele, which of course was our Seagram shot of the game. I'm always looking for him. We've scored a lot of goals that way over the years, and when I get that puck on the right side, my first look is to see where he is, and he was kind of coming right down the slot. You give him the puck there. You certainly do. And he made no mistake with it. That was the Jets' the third goal of the game. Not the game winner, but the third goal certainly made the Jets have a little bit more breathing room, especially after Tyler Johnson cut it to that 3-1 lead. More from Blake Wheeler on this courtesy of Murat Atesh on whether he had any words of support for Dylan Samberg after Samberg had that scary-looking shot block between legs. Wheeler's quote is, early indications are it didn't hit him in the same spot as me, so we're in good shape. That certainly was a scary and or painful moment during today's game where Samberg took a shot where you don't want to take a shot at any point in time. Correct?
And hopefully he doesn't have to miss any time because what happened to Wheeler was very similar. He did come back, but I think it's going to hurt. Let's just say that I think there's going to be some frozen peas and some ice on that area tonight and tomorrow.
Yes. I think the ice bath and the ice packs are going to be working overtime in keeping Dylan Samberg in good shape and in good health after that very unfortunate location for a shot block. Let's give away some prizes as we approach the 1 o'clock hour on this Sunday morning, Ezra. First of all, of course, we know the Illegal Curve merchandise contest rolls on. So if you haven't already done so for the month of February, it's time to start entering the contest. You click the contest link in the show description here on our YouTube channel. Click the down arrow, find the show description. You'll see the contest link. Click that. All sorts of different ways you can enter to win some great Jets merchandise. And of course, if you can't find it here on the YouTube channel, just go to our website, illegalcurve.com, and you can find the link there to enter in the contest. And more entries you do, more tasks you accomplish, the more entries you get, the better your chance it is to win. And you can be a winner just like our good friend Thomas von Stackelberg, who I believe is Jet Oil Tom in the chat frequently here on the Illegal Curve post.
Congrats, Tom.
Yes, so congratulations to Thomas von Stackelberg, the winner of the Illegal Curve merchandise.
It's fun to say that, isn't it, Drew? Von Stackelberg.
Yeah, well,
usually good sound to it. I also just like names that end with Berg. So
I was going to say, usually, as when you and I hear somebody with the last name of von Stackelberg, we tend to run in the opposite direction based on historical precedent. But I know Tom, and he's a great guy, so I don't run away from Tom at any point at all. I run up to him and wish him congratulations for being the winner.
Only run if someone has a knife. You run towards a gun and then away from a knife.
Is that how it works? You run towards a gun?
Yeah.
How do you take some self-defense training?
Well, no, but you have to.
Are you a cop on the side with that?
I've done a little Krav Maga, but no. I mean, that's apparently because you can get the gun away from them. But if someone's coming at you with a knife, I mean, you gotta run. So run towards the gun, away from a knife.
At this point in time, folks, we remind you that any self-defense advice given by Ezra is done and that you take into account is done at your own risk and your own risk only. And those of us at Illegal Curve to hold no liability for anything that Mr. Ginsburg says and or any actions of Mr. Ginsburg's that you follow. If you can all sign the waiver form that you're all going to quickly receive, that would be great so that you can keep us unsued for yet another day here on this fine program. In any event,
that comment right there by Alan. Alan, you know what? Overall, Alan might be the best commenter. Two-pad von Stackelberg. That's amazing. Alan's been on tonight, and I mean it's 1:45 as you just mentioned, Drew. Yeah. But we've had Alan's comments up there all night. Love it. Everybody's a little funnier at this hour. Yeah, everybody's a comedian.
Everyone's a comedian. Everyone's a little funnier, things of that nature. It gets a little wild and wacky at 1:45. Some places it's 1:45. No, Dale, I'm not in a principal's office. I'm on family
Even though
vacation.
Drew's dad was a former guidance counselor at Grant Park.
He was also the principal of summer school for the Winnipeg School Division, so he was a
There you go.
principal as well.
Yep.
I'm on family vacation with my family. They are up sleeping, as you might expect.
Drew's currently being detained at the border.
That's right. Basically, I'm yes, exactly. If somebody can send an immigration lawyer, that would be great to get me out of here. Because all they said is I can have my computer to do the post game show. Then it goes back away again. So if somebody can send help, that would be great. For some of us, it's 1:45 in the morning. For some of us, it's 1:45 in the morning.
It is,
and that's why we're giving Stacy S. the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. First of all, because Stacy is able to incorporate both the previous conversation we were having about the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Stacy's in Pennsylvania, where it's Eastern time, which means it is now 1:45 in the morning Eastern time. And we have a pretty firm rule here on Illegal Curve that if it's approaching 2 in the morning and you're watching us, then you deserve a prize. So congratulations to Stacy, the winner of the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment for I live in PA, I live in Pennsylvania. We are also a Commonwealth, not a republic, a Commonwealth here in Pennsylvania. Truthfully, I still don't understand what it actually means versus other states. Stacy, I echo that comment because I've asked my wife and my in-laws what it means that Kentucky is a Commonwealth, and they just usually tell me to shut up and watch Cocaine Bear again. That's usually the response I get from them. But Stacy, congratulations. Ezzy, what should Stacy do in order to get the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment too?
Yeah, we should mention Stacy. I believe Stacy is still in the chat right now. She was mentioning that she works for the Erie Otters. So we should mention that as well.
I don't think she works for the Erie Otters. I think she has season tickets to the Erie Otters.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I misread that. She's season ticket holder for the Erie Otters. Obviously, former team of Connor McDavid and many other great players, Alex DeBrincat, Dylan Strome. So Stacy, send me an email, Ezra, EZRA, at illegalcurve.com, one word, or you can slide into my DMs on Twitter at ICSEG. And Tough Duck, we ship to the U.S. We've shipped to the U.S. before. We shipped to North Dakota. We haven't shipped to Pennsylvania, but there's a first time for everything. So Stacy, send me that email with your mailing address, and then we'll ship out a toque to Pennsylvania, to Erie.
There's already controversy. Look at this. Turd Ferguson says she's in Prince Albert. He calls foul, not PA as in Prince Albert. Same with Kenny's Waterball, or is PA Prince Albert?
Well, no, but Prince Albert wouldn't be in the Eastern time zone.
It would not be. We know that and we know that Stacy's been here before. We've seen her before.
Oh, I see. STH means season ticket holder.
She's a season ticket holder.
Okay, I wasn't familiar with that acronym. Sorry, there's a lot of comments flying around, Drew, here. So, regardless, Stacy's going to get that toque from Tough Duck. And yeah, I'm pretty sure Stacy is in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure what everybody's talking about with Prince Albert, but Prince Albert is a fine city.
Yes, I have no doubt whatsoever that Stacy is in Pennsylvania, not Prince Albert. But thank you for the contributions as per usual. Alan is asking, did he miss the unique code word? No, Alan, you didn't miss the unique code word because I forgot to do it. The unique code word for the merchandise contest. I talked all about the merchandise contest. I congratulated Jet Oil Tom on winning the merchandise contest. The unique code word for the post-game show for tonight is welcome back hockey. I'm not sure if Dave thinks that there was a lockout or something that's just been gone for 12 days, but in any event, the unique code word for tonight is welcome back hockey. Put this code word into the unique code word on the contest page. You get, I think, 10 entries for doing that for the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. So all one word, welcome back hockey. Dave really didn't go very, usually goes in deep.
What about welcome back Cotter?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think there was a correlation necessarily there, but Dave's away. He's on a boys trip, so we can excuse him for not spending a lot of time in coming up with a unique code word. But nonetheless, it is welcome back hockey to get your bonus entries for the Illegal Curve.
Was welcome back Cotter based in Chicago? Like, what's maybe Dave just this is not related to Chicago at all.
I don't think it is related to Chicago at all. I think he was just a little bit lazy. I don't think Welcome Back Cotter was in Chicago. I could certainly be wrong.
I barely remember that show. I mean, we were really young when that show was on, right? Like that was like a mid 80s, late 80s show, wasn't it?
Yes, that would be no, late 70s, 75 through 79. It's in New York. It's based in New York, in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
So no, it wasn't based in Chicago. Dave was just lazy tonight.
that's understandable. Look, the guy, covers every single Jets and Moose game, so he's entitled to go down in Vegas and soak up a little whatever he's soaking it up. Hopefully, sun and money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not the best unique code word, but we'll go with it.
We'll let it slide tonight. We'll let it slide tonight, as of course, we'll cut Dave some slack. The Jets win tonight 4-1 over the Chicago Blackhawks. They're next in action on Tuesday night as they welcome the Seattle Kraken into town. That means our post-game show on Tuesday night at a much more reasonable hour of 9:45 p.m. Central Time, back here on our YouTube channel, and of course wherever you get your favorite podcast. I'll be here, Ezzy will be here, Dave will be here, and part of the reason we can be here, Frosty, get ready, is because, of course, of our sponsors, who we have to say a big thank you to, all of them who make the post-game show, the Saturday show, and the website a possibility. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Sean LeCumber at Rumors next week. If you're looking for something to do, perhaps you're looking for something to do on Valentine's Day, Rumors. It's 2 for Tuesday, 2 tickets, $20. Go out with your loved one or your future loved one or your hope-to-be loved one and check out Sean LeCumber at Rumors on Tuesday night. I'm going to be there on Thursday night, so if you're looking to come stalk me, you can do that on Thursday night. Ezzy's going to be there on Saturday night, so if you're looking to stalk Ezzy, you can check out
No, I'll
Rumors.
be there Thursday night to stalk you as well.
Oh, you're coming to stalk me on Thursday, and then you're coming to see Sean LeCumber on Saturday. Is that how it's working?
Yeah, I'll be there twice. I love Rumors that much that I'll be there twice next week.
There you go. Once for stalking purposes and once for comedy purposes as well. So there's something for you folks who can do. Our friends at Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Betway, they're the official title sponsor here of the post-game show. Tough Duck, Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rollies Transfer, Grid Park, and The Keg support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. Big thanks to all of you who joined us tonight here in the for the post-game show. It's late at night. We appreciate you sticking around with us and the loyal support you show us no matter the time that we may be broadcasting. Jets win 4-1. For Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. If it's the Illegal Curve post-game show, it's where you need to be, the Illegal Curve YouTube channel. You can like us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all those good places.
TikTok. We're on TikTok.
I know we're on TikTok.
We've only posted a few, but we're getting there. We're like, apparently all the kids are doing it these days, Drew, right? So we got to get with the times.
There you go. So we're
hip. We're hip here. We know what's going on. We're on TikTok. We're on Truth Social. We're on everything.
Mastodon.
Mastodon. Yeah, everything. Friendster.
Exactly. Wherever you need us to be, that is where we are. That's our commitment to you good folks. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. For Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. This has been the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow at Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.